Megyn Kelly's chilling prediction on her show has sent shockwaves through the nation, and when I heard it from her directly, it hit me hard. She unveiled a dark vision of the future that even the most seasoned political observers find unsettling. In our candid conversation, she shared her concerns about the shifting landscape of free speech and the potential threats facing those of us who dare to challenge the status quo. The assassination of Charlie Kirk, a prominent conservative voice who dedicated years to engaging with young people on college campuses, has shattered the illusion of a free and open discourse in America. Megyn's words carry a weight that I can't ignore because they speak to the fragility of our democratic ideals and the looming specter of forces that seek to silence dissenting voices. As Megyn delved into the implications of this tragic event, she painted a picture of a world where the rules of engagement have been rewritten, where the powerful wield their influence with impunity, and where the very foundations of our society are being tested. Her prediction wasn't just about political upheaval, it was a stark warning about the future of free expression and the personal safety of anyone who dares to challenge the prevailing narratives. My conversation with Megyn was not friendly banter or casual discourse. It was a somber exchange, a shared acknowledgement that the ground has shifted beneath our feet. The implications of her words extend far beyond the realm of politics, touching upon the very essence of what it means to live in a free and open society. As her chilling prediction unfolded, I found myself grappling with the unsettling reality of what the future may hold. The assassination of Charlie Kirk hasn't just taken away a voice, it has shattered the very fabric of how we engage in the marketplace of ideas. The stakes have never been higher, and the path forward is shrouded in uncertainty. I've always respected Megyn for her ability to engage in substantive discourse, even with people she disagrees with. But it's precisely this skill that has made her a threat to certain individuals. Not a danger in the way her critics claim, but a threat to their control over the narrative and their assumption that they dictate the future. In today's volatile climate, her prediction cuts straight to the heart of what lies ahead. The recent surge in political violence, the erosion of trust in institutions, and the growing polarization of our society have all contributed to a sense of unease and uncertainty. Megyn's words serve as a wake-up call, urging us to confront the challenges head-on and to defend the principles of free speech and open discourse that are the bedrock of a healthy democracy. As we navigate this turbulent landscape, it's crucial that we remain vigilant, engage in constructive dialogue, and stand up for the values that have made our nation great. The future may be uncertain, but it is ours to shape, and Megyn Kelly's prediction serves as a powerful reminder of the stakes involved. As someone who has seen and reported on enough to discern the difference between temporary political turbulence and something more fundamental, her words carry enormous weight. She foresees not just a continuation of the violence, but an escalation. The forces that felt threatened by the success of figures like Charlie and their ability to reach and influence young minds will not be satisfied with silencing them alone. Megyn's insight is rooted in a pattern she has observed, where those who effectively challenge certain narratives face increasing pressure, isolation, and even physical danger. This is not mere speculation, but a logical conclusion drawn from the realities unfolding right in front of us. The truly chilling aspect, however, is Megyn's personal experience with the tactics employed against her. She has faced coordinated efforts to isolate her, to cut her off from platforms, and to make it financially and professionally costly for anyone to associate with her, all because she had the audacity to ask questions about topics deemed off-limits. Even allies who had stood by her through previous controversies have turned their backs, succumbing to the pressure. Megyn told me she now finds herself in a precarious position. As she digs deeper into the complex web of political narratives, she said she's made a startling observation. Powerful entities are determined to maintain an iron grip on the information landscape, silencing any voices that dare to challenge the approved storylines. She explained to me that her journey has been marked by a willingness to ask the tough questions and confront uncomfortable realities. She's weathered storms before, and she said the recent fate of her colleague, Charlie, has sent a chilling message. The consequences of straying from the prescribed narrative can be severe. Megyn's personal experiences have given her a unique perspective on the forces at play. She has witnessed firsthand how those in positions of power will go to great lengths to suppress dissenting voices and maintain their control over the narrative. This has led her to conclude that the escalation of violence and the targeting of influential figures like Charlie are not isolated incidents, but rather part of a broader strategy to quash any challenge to the established order. As the landscape continues to shift, Megyn's dark prediction has shaken her and many others who share her concern for the future of free speech and the ability to challenge the status quo. The implications of her words extend far beyond politics, touching on the very foundations of a free and open society. The question that now looms large is, what lies ahead, and who will have the courage to confront the forces that seek to silence dissent? I can only imagine the weight Megyn now carries, as she recognizes that the very same forces that sought to silence Charlie may have their sights set on her as well. The pressure campaigns, the coordinated efforts to isolate and silence, they've taken on a new, ominous significance. She's no longer just analyzing the potential risks to others. She's facing the sobering realization that she could be the next target. The reason behind this targeted suppression isn't a mystery, but it is deeply unsettling. Certain influential groups have decided that certain narratives are so crucial to their agenda that they cannot tolerate even the slightest deviation or questioning. They demand complete control over the information the public is allowed to consume, leaving no room for alternative perspectives or good faith inquiries. Megyn has experienced this firsthand. Her seemingly harmless observations about shifting public sentiment toward a particular conflict were met with a barrage of accusations and attempts to discredit her. What used to be considered normal political commentary is now branded as heresy simply because it challenged the approved narrative. The same fate has fallen on Charlie, whose commitment to providing platforms for diverse viewpoints and allowing his own positions to evolve with new information has been reframed as a betrayal of journalistic integrity. In a world where intellectual honesty and balanced reporting are increasingly rare, these actions have become the new norm, leaving Megyn and others like her to navigate a treacherous landscape where the pursuit of truth has become a dangerous endeavor. And when Megyn spoke recently about Elon Musk, it sent shockwaves through the tech and media worlds. In a candid moment, she made a bold prediction about Musk's future, one that left many unsettled. Megyn's words carried a sense of foreboding when she warned me about the potential consequences I could face for his unwavering stance on free speech and his refusal to bow to the demands of certain ideological factions. She even likened his position to a betrayal worthy of the harshest consequences, suggesting that those who seek to control the narrative will stop at nothing to silence opposing voices. The heart of her message lies in her understanding of the power dynamics at play. Megyn recognizes that the forces seeking to silence dissent are not limited to traditional media outlets or political institutions. They have infiltrated the tech industry, where platforms that were once hailed as bastions of free expression are now being weaponized to suppress and censor those who dare to challenge the prevailing narratives. As Musk continues to push back against these efforts, Megyn's warning serves as a stark reminder of the risks he faces and the formidable adversaries he is up against. Megyn's insights come from her own experiences. She has seen firsthand the lengths some people will go to in order to maintain their grip on the narrative. She pointed to Charlie as an example, someone who built a following through genuine engagement, intellectual honesty, and a willingness to tackle complex issues with nuance. But that approach, the very thing that earned him the trust of his audience, was viewed as a threat by those whose power depends on unquestioning acceptance of simplistic narratives. As she explained, when Charlie began asking uncomfortable questions and giving platforms to diverse perspectives, he became a target. The pressure campaign that followed, former allies distancing themselves, personal attacks intensifying, became a cautionary tale of what happens to those who refuse to conform. Megyn shared stories of other prominent figures who faced similar fates, their careers and reputations destroyed for daring to challenge the prevailing orthodoxy. And yet, it's Megyn's own unwavering stance that stands out most. She could have taken the easy way out, issue apologies, retreat to safer topics, stay quiet. But instead she chose to keep asking the hard questions, maintain relationships with those who'd been isolated, and speak uncomfortable truths, even though it painted a bigger target on her back. She recounted the personal toll this has taken, the threats and smear campaigns that have sought to silence her, but her resolve only seems to have hardened. For me, her warning is a stark reminder that the costs of resistance are real and severe, but that true progress only comes when people are willing to stand firm in the face of overwhelming pressure. Her prediction for my future is sobering. She believes that, as the forces of conformity grow stronger, the consequences for dissent will become increasingly dire. But it's also a call to action for anyone who values intellectual honesty, freedom of expression, and the pursuit of truth, no matter the personal consequences. Megyn's chilling warning about the escalating dangers of speaking truth in America struck me hard. In an age where courage has become a prerequisite for even the most basic acts of civic engagement, her words are a sobering reminder of the perils awaiting anyone who dares to challenge the status quo. She reminded me that whether it was the fight to end slavery, to secure women's suffrage, or simply to preserve human dignity, the path to progress has always been paved with the sacrifices of those willing to stand when it was dangerous to do so. And as the forces of authoritarianism and intolerance continue to gain ground, she believes the need for such courage has never been greater. What she understood and what Charlie Kirk experienced before her is that courage is contagious. When one person finds the strength to speak out, it emboldens others. When one refuses to be silenced, it inspires a chorus of voices to join in. And when someone pays the ultimate price for defending their principles, it proves that justice is worth the risk. But the true measure of courage isn't just in speaking, it's in being prepared for the consequences. In today's climate, Megyn's words carry a chilling weight. Journalists and commentators are forced to think about personal security measures that were once unthinkable. Bulletproof vests, security details, advanced alarm systems, not because they're investigating cartels or war zones, but because they dare to express opinions certain groups find unacceptable. The implications of this are staggering. Charlie, a young man who only encouraged students to think critically about their education, now needed military-level security just to speak on a college campus spaces that should represent free discourse and debate. That contrast between the ideals of academia and the harsh reality of national discourse is a brutal indictment of where we are as a society. For families like Megyn's, this new normal brings a heavy burden of worry and sacrifice, knowing their loved ones' work could put them all at risk. And it forces a fundamental question. What does it say about the health of our democracy when the simple act of speaking your mind becomes a matter of life and death? The answers are difficult, but maybe they're the only way to reclaim a society where courage isn't a prerequisite for civic engagement. It's just the natural outcome of valuing the free exchange of ideas. When Megyn spoke directly about me, her words sent shockwaves through tech and media. In a candid moment, she made a bold and unsettling prediction about the consequences I could face for my views and actions. She told me plainly, my refusal to back down, my insistence on free speech, has made me a target for those in power. And if I continue challenging the status quo, I could face the same fate as people who dared to question authoritarian regimes' disappearance. This isn't the price we expect people to pay for participating in public discourse in America, she said to me. Yet here we are, watching it happen in real time. Somehow we've convinced ourselves this is normal. The gravity of Megyn's warning cannot be overstated. As a prominent figure in the media, she has witnessed firsthand the escalating threats and attacks against those who dare to speak out. Her prediction that I could face disappearance is a chilling reminder of the dark forces that lurk in the shadows, ready to silence those who challenge the established order. Megyn's words serve as a wake-up call to all of us who value the principles of free speech and democratic discourse. The fact that she, a respected journalist, feels compelled to issue such a dire warning is a testament to the fragility of our institutions and the growing intolerance for dissenting voices. It's a sobering reminder that the very foundations of our society are under threat and that we must be vigilant in defending them. As I reflect on Megyn's words, I am reminded of the words of the late Martin Luther King Jr., who once said, "Our lives begin to end the day we become silent about things that matter." In these turbulent times, it is more important than ever to find the courage to speak out, to challenge the status quo, and to fight for the ideals that make our democracy strong. The consequences may be daunting, but the alternative, a society where fear and silence reign supreme, is simply unacceptable. But the tragic irony is that this level of danger often proves how powerful a voice truly was. Megyn drew parallels between my situation and the fate of Charlie Kirk, whose influential voice and ability to connect with young people made him a real threat to those in power. She pointed out that Charlie's approach didn't just create passive viewers or casual supporters, but actually inspired a generation of young people to take responsibility for their own lives and challenge the toxic narratives they'd been fed. Here was someone showing an entire generation that they didn't have to accept the messages they'd been told about themselves, their country, and their potential, Megyn told me. He was proving that with the right guidance and encouragement, young people who had been written off as lost causes could become thoughtful, responsible, contributing members of society. And then she turned it toward me. Megyn said my ability to communicate principles and ideas in a way that resonates with a wide audience has made me a formidable threat to those who want to maintain control. You've developed an almost unique ability to take complex political and philosophical concepts and make them accessible, relevant, and inspiring to audiences that other voices couldn't reach, she explained. Her warning hit me hard. It was a stark reminder of the dangers that can arise when someone dares to challenge the powers that be. As I continue to navigate the treacherous waters of public discourse, Megyn's prediction hangs over me like a shadow, forcing me to ask what consequences I might ultimately face for my commitment to free speech and my willingness to disrupt the established order. Megyn also issued a chilling forecast about the country as a whole. She warned me that our society is on an alarming trajectory, one marked by escalating political tensions, intimidation, and the silencing of dissenting voices. In her view, the assassination of Charlie Kirk wasn't just an isolated tragedy, but part of a larger pattern, an escalation in the suppression of ideological opponents through increasingly aggressive means. She pointed out how the landscape has shifted. Once it was online harassment and job terminations, then came boycotts, physical confrontations, and now outright violence against individuals and their families. Charlie's murder, she said, is a symptom of a deeper societal breakdown in how we handle political disagreements. Megyn emphasized that the stakes are higher than ever, and the potential consequences for those who dare to challenge the status quo are becoming increasingly severe. She recounted how Charlie's death had sent shockwaves through the conservative movement, leaving many feeling vulnerable and uncertain about the future. Megyn warned that the same fate could befall others who have built influential platforms and are perceived as threats by those in power. She urged me to be vigilant, to surround myself with trusted allies, and to prioritize my safety and the safety of my loved ones. As I listened to Megyn's sobering assessment, I couldn't help but feel a deep sense of unease. The idea that my voice and my ideas could make me a target for such extreme measures was deeply unsettling. But Megyn's words also reinforced my conviction that the fight for freedom of speech and the free exchange of ideas is more important than ever. I knew that I couldn't back down, even in the face of such daunting challenges. The core of her prediction is bleak, that this trajectory won't stop here. She fears we're watching the country fracture into two irreconcilable factions with completely different visions for America. And as the silencing of effective voices continues, our ability to bridge those divides through persuasion and democratic processes becomes more and more impossible. Her warning wasn't just about Charlie or even about herself. She told me this is a broader threat to the very fabric of society. The people being targeted aren't necessarily the most extreme, but the most effective, the ones who can actually reach those who were previously closed off to their message. And when she said this, I couldn't help but see the truth in it. The forecast she laid out painted a bleak picture of a nation being torn apart, where the free exchange of ideas is replaced by forced suppression of dissent. Her words felt like a clarion call urging us to confront these underlying forces before it's too late to restore the democratic principles that once defined the American experiment. But Megyn didn't stop there. She went deeper, telling me that the root cause of this crisis isn't just political, it's spiritual and moral. She believes America has abandoned traditional religious and ethical frameworks, and in that vacuum, people have deified politics. Political ideology has become the new religion, clung to with the fervor of zealots, treated as sacred texts that can't be questioned, while anyone who disagrees is branded a heretic to be purged. She argued that this fanaticism can never provide the deep, lasting meaning or moral guidance that genuine faith once offered. And as political leaders disappoint and victories prove fleeting, the fragility of this new political religion is exposed, leaving society divided, angry, and broken. Yet, even in her darkest predictions, Megyn told me she still holds on to a glimmer of hope. She believes the only way forward is a restoration of true spiritual and moral foundations in American life. Only by rediscovering deeper sources of meaning and purpose beyond politics can we heal the rifts tearing the country apart. Her insights challenged me to think about the bigger picture, that what we're facing isn't just a political crisis, but a spiritual and cultural one. And her warning felt less like doom and more like a call to reclaim the moral and ethical moorings that once held society together. Megyn pointed to the erosion of traditional values and the rise of political fanaticism as root causes of the country's deep divisions. She argued that without a return to deeper sources of meaning and purpose, the fractures in society will only deepen. Megyn shared stories of how she has witnessed the silencing of effective voices, not just the most extreme, as the free exchange of ideas is replaced by forced suppression. This, she believes, is a broader threat to the very fabric of society, making it increasingly impossible to bridge divides through democratic processes. Megyn's warning felt like a call to action, urging us to confront the underlying forces tearing the country apart before it's too late. She challenged me to think about the crisis we face not just as a political one, but as a spiritual and cultural one as well. Only by rediscovering moral and ethical foundations can we hope to heal the rifts dividing America. In the end, she made it clear this isn't just her battle or mine, it's on all of us. Every time someone tries to silence a voice of truth or declares a topic too dangerous to discuss, it's part of a larger pattern, threatening the fabric of our society. But she reminded me that there's still hope. Every time we refuse to be intimidated, every time we speak up for what we know is right, every time we keep relationships alive, even with people who disagree, we contribute to rebuilding a shared foundation and preserving civil discourse. For me, her warning wasn't just chilling, it was galvanizing. It reminded me that history has proven even the most entrenched systems of control eventually crumble under the collective courage of ordinary people. And it left me with one conclusion: the future is ours to shape, but only if we have the courage to seize it. Megyn's words struck a chord with me, reminding me and reminding all of us that the fight for truth and free speech is an ongoing battle that requires vigilance and unity. She pointed to historical examples where oppressive regimes ultimately fell to the power of the people, giving hope that even the most daunting challenges can be overcome through collective action. Kelly's message was a call to arms, urging us to find the courage to stand up for our principles and shape the future we want to see, rather than passively accepting the status quo. Her dark prediction was not meant to instill fear, but to galvanize us into taking ownership of the narrative and fighting for the values that define a free and open society.